So first, I want to go over the law of attraction and the law of assumption. These are very different things. To my understanding, the law of attraction is focused on what you think. So the law of attraction, to my understanding, what you think about a lot, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to attract that into your life. Like if you think about money all the time, it doesn't mean that you're going to attract a lot of money. There's a difference between thinking and knowing. So if you think about how the world is in suffering a lot, then you're going to look out into the world and see a lot of reasons that the world is suffering. It's just kind of like you attract what you think about, in the way that the more you think about something, the more you're going to notice that thing that you're thinking about. So what you think is ultimately going to be what you see. And at first, whenever you think about stuff, at first you're like, okay, I'm seeing a lot of it. You're kind of neutral towards it until you start thinking about it a lot. And it's going to become stapled into your identity. And your identity is what you carry with you. That's really what the law of assumption is all about. It's what you assume to be true. It's what you assume to be true about yourself. It's like the frequency that you carry around with you. So if you're seeing something constantly, you might not be opinionated towards it at first, but if you continuously see it over and over again, then it's going to bleed into what you assume to be true. Just like I said, if you see the world around you to be bleak and miserable, you're going to assume that that is a reality that you live in. And if you assume that there is a reality that you live in which is bleak and miserable, then you're going to unconsciously attract miserable outcomes. Because as you subconsciously know things to be true, and that's another point. The subconscious is really all that matters. What your subconscious knows to be true is true. What you feel deep down is going to be manifested into reality. So if you feel deep down that you're a success, and if you feel deep down that you are persuasive, confident, then you're going to be persuasive and confident, because that is in the law of assumption. So the law of attraction is really focusing on what you think about a lot, and therefore you see a lot of that. And if you see a lot of that, how do you see it is the next question you need to ask. Because you need to understand how you view something and the feelings that you are giving to it behind the scene. You see something, but how do you really feel about it, right? So that's important. You need to ask yourself, how do you feel about something? If you want to manifest a lot of money, you got to ask yourself, how do you feel about money? So ask yourself, how do you feel about money? Do you genuinely feel that you are successful, or do you genuinely feel that you have a lot of money? Or do you feel deep down that money is scarce and life is hard? So the law of assumption is really based on your identity. Your identity is what you are reflecting out into the world. It's about what you believe to be true. Like if you believe you're kind of a weird guy, like deep down, subconsciously, then you're going to reflect that out into the world. Not that being a weird guy is bad. I mean, I feel like I'm a weird guy. But like, what you believe about yourself to be true is what is true. And really, every single thing around you is happening in accordance with you. So if everything is happening in accordance with you, then you manifest your reality based on your beliefs and what you deep down think to be true. So I also want to get into this little vortex model. So the vortex represents your frequency. So this is you. That's your identity. That's what you're giving off to the world. And whatever you give off to the world is what you bring back in. So if you're giving off love and gratitude and abundance, if you feel deep down within you that you are abundant, then the world sees that and reflects that to you. And it's kind of an unfortunate circumstance because there's a lot of people that are suffering, and like the universe doesn't care, though, unfortunately, about it. The universe doesn't play by human rules. The universe does not care about what you think to be right or wrong. The universe, God does not see, God sees things in neutrality. God sees things all equal. It's completely indifferent towards what you think is right or wrong. I mean, I do think that there is an understanding at the end of the day that deep down within your spirit can be really badly affected by bad things that you do. But the universe, the all, God, it's within all of us. It's within everything. Every single thing is created by the all. Everything is here because of the all. Therefore, you can't personify the all to be like, oh, this is good and this is bad, because the all is everything. The all, or God, sees all perspectives and sees all realities. You're just a microcosm of the macrocosm. That's why you're able to control reality, because you're still a part of God. You are a part of God. You carry the light of God within you. And the amount that you genuinely understand that is the amount that you're going to be able to manifest reality into your existence. So, the vortex. But anyway. And with all that, you need to understand that there's a difference between thinking and knowing, or just being unsure. So if you're unsure of something, you could manifest it into existence, because you're telling your subconscious, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. But really, at the end of the day, your general beliefs about yourself is what you're going to give off into the world. So if you believe that you are a confident individual capable of doing all sorts of things, then that is true. That is truth. So that's important to write down. Thinking and knowing. Or unsure. Thinking about something is just what you see in your field of view. It's like perception as well. Perception could also go into what you know, but all of these terms kind of bleed together, but I'm trying to dissect it so you guys can better understand spirituality and manifestation. So what you know to be true is probably what's going to happen. If you subconsciously know that you are this thing, then it's gonna be manifested into reality, because the energy that you are giving off is what you unconsciously create into existence. If you're up on stage and you're talking in front of people, and then you all of a sudden have this kind of doubt, what do I talk about next? What am I going to say next? Then this is also a good point. Feeling. Then if you have a doubt of what you're going to say next, or you're kind of anxious about what you're going to say next, then what is the feeling that you're creating? The feeling that you're creating is, I'm not doing good. The feeling that you're feeling deep down is, I'm angsty. Or the feeling that you feel is, whatever, like, this isn't going well. So the second that you start feeling, I'm trying to combine these two things because these two go hand in hand. So what you think about, you're thinking about like, oh, I'm anxious, or you're thinking about, well, what am I going to say next? What feeling does that produce? Because the feeling that it produces is what's going to be manifested into reality. So if you feel anxious up there on stage, you're going to start stuttering and you're going to start not looking good, simply because you've associated the what am I going to say next with the negative feeling of anxiousness. And if you have the feeling of anxiousness, then you're carrying that in your identity, you're carrying that in your vortex, and that's what you're putting out. It's going to come back, it's going to go out into all directions. So I'm going to say here, feeling is what happens. So while thinking is like a viewpoint or a perception, thinking is like just what you momentarily think about. You just think about something in a certain moment. But like I said, you got to ask yourself, what is the feeling associated with that thought? And be honest with yourself when you ask yourself, what's the feeling with that thought? So if you think about money, be honest with yourself. What do you feel about money? Do you see money in scarcity? Do you see money in lack of abundance? Do you see money in abundance? You got to see money in abundance. You got to realize as long as you got food, water, shelter, you're good. Like, you don't need to put all this stress and worry into money, because all that stress and worry, what feelings is it creating? It's creating a lack. If you're stressed about something, if you are telling the universe, I need something, then the universe is going to respond right back and say, haha, you need this. Like, time doesn't matter. Time is an illusion. What you feel presently is what you're going to bring into your vortex of reality, right? What you feel presently is what you're going to bring into your vortex of reality. So I really want to capitalize and make clear, if you feel like you need something, then what's the energy that you're giving off to the world? You're giving off neediness. You're giving off the energy of, I don't have this. That's what you're giving off. You're giving off, I need it, I don't have it. So you want to convert your feeling into, you got to convert your feelings into gratitude. No matter what happens, just be grateful. Because what do you think gratitude does to the vortex? Gratitude for all things will attract whatever you want into reality. If you just ignore the stresses, ignore the worries, and practice gratitude, you don't need to be worried about money anymore. That's a hell of a lot nicer than being stressed about it. I mean, shit, maybe you do need money. Maybe the mafia is coming after you. But I'm sure most of you are not in that situation. Also, outside of feelings, what you know is what's going to happen, right? What you know to be true about reality is what's going to happen. You're going to see it and you're going to experience it. Because if you know your reality is darkness, if you know that the world around you is hateful and bad, then you're going to unconsciously talk to the world as if it's bad. And if you're talking to someone like they're a bad person, then you're going to project. You're almost like putting a demon. You're like casting a demon to watch over them and stay on their shoulder. And whenever they're around you, they're going to not be in the top to yourself, because you're talking to them as if they're a bad person. So if you have the same feeling towards the world, if you think that the world around you is bad, you're going to talk to the world like it's bad. And the world is going to respond in that liking. The world is going to respond in the same way of what you're giving it. Just as if you see a relationship in conflict, that relationship is going to respond in conflict. So anyway, what you know to be true is going to be true. And be honest with yourself when you're asking yourself these questions. What do I know to be true? And there's a really big point that I've forgotten to make, but when it comes to money or anything in reality, what you know is going to work will work. So if you believe that you need to work really hard to make money, then that's going to work. It's going to work for you. That's how you're going to need to make money. But see, not all people have the belief that they need to work really hard to make money, right? Some people have the belief that I only need to work like 3 hours a day and I'm going to make a shitload of money. And they know that to be true, so that's going to manifest into existence. See, for me personally, it's hard. I know that from firsthand experience, that it's hard to change your beliefs. Like, my beliefs right now is that you need to work hard to make money. And that's not necessarily benefiting me. But the key is to change your beliefs. And there's kind of two ways you can do this. You can either go into a deep meditation and focus on the feeling that you want to experience. So in a deep meditative state, there's a few ways you can do this. Focus on the feeling that you want to feel. I'm abundant. I have money. Whatever. I'm complete with myself. That's a really powerful one, by the way. Focus on that feeling and just harness that feeling. The more that you can consciously meditate and consciously focus on those things, the more you're going to carry it with you as you're walking around the world, as you're going through your life. So that's just a really big point. What you believe to work will work. It's all about you. It's really all about you. The beliefs that you've designed for yourself to be true, that's exactly what you need to follow. So like, if you believe that all of this is a bunch of bullshit, then it's true. Like, it is. I mean, obviously there's some key points here that apply to everyone, but all in all, if you don't believe that shit's gonna work, then the shit's not gonna work. The whole point is to change your belief system so reality serves you. That's the key here. You gotta become pure infinite. Like, you gotta become infinite. You need to realize that you are pure infinite possibility. And you can believe whatever you want. And you can create whatever you want. You really gotta realize that. It's important. I hope all this is making sense. Drop a comment if it's not, and I want to readdress it later. And I really want to also, oh yeah, and then the other thing that you could do, sorry, I'm all over the place. The other thing that you can do whenever you're, like the one of two things that you can do, either meditate, and the other thing that you can do is actively act against your belief. So this one really only works for, I mean, it could work for anything, but there's certain things that it works really good for. Like, if you're really bad at procrastinating, you could either meditate and rewire your brain to say, I'm not a procrastinator, I'm not a procrastinator. But for something like that, I would recommend actively doing the exact opposite of that belief. Because right now, procrastination is in your identity, so you're gonna do it. And basically, it comes from the identity of kind of a fear of the outcome, and you're scared that the outcome is gonna damage your self-worth. You kind of have a sensitive self-worth then. So procrastination could come from a lot of things, but usually it comes from a belief in oneself, really. But anyway, that's beside the point. And not all that stuff always matters. Really, like I said, what you believe matters. Like, what you believe works will work. So on to that second point, a good way to get rid of anything or move past anything is to just actively do the opposite of it. So with procrastination, do the opposite of procrastination. Just fucking work. Because the second that you decide, hey, fuck this procrastination, I'm just gonna work anyway, you start to rewire the belief that, you know, you're a procrastinator. The belief in your head is gonna start to turn around and say, wait, I'm getting better at not procrastinating. And it's gonna keep saying, oh, I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at this. Until that I'm getting better becomes, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. I'm good at it, right? That could be applied to so many different things. Like, I had terrible OCD growing up, like fucking terrible. I'd stay up until like 4 a.m. every night doing the craziest shit. hitting light switches, going to the bathroom, checking on the soap. OCD is fucking wild, man. But the way that I got rid of my OCD is I just said, screw it. Like, I'm not going to listen to this stuff. I'm not going to do what my OCD is telling me to do. Because that shit was putting me in a state of psychosis every single night. Every single night when I went to my bed, I'd go into fucking manic. Like, I would be crazy. I'd be in psychosis. Like, shit was bad. So I was just actively going against it. And I'd say, like, I'm not doing this anymore. And then, due to the belief that actively going against it would work, it started to work. Because I know it doesn't work for everyone, because people have different belief systems. But I had the belief that if I actively go against my OCD and just tell my OCD, no, I'm not going to do that, then I'm going to get rid of it. Because I had the belief that if I just did that, then I could get rid of it. And look at me now. It's gone. It's really simple as that. You just got to understand what works for you, because that's going to work for you. You got to understand what you believe to be true is true. What you believe works will work. So if you're unsure of something, like let's say that you want $1 million. You got to have $1 million, right? But you're unsure that you can get it. The best thing that I can tell you there is active faith. Because if you continuously have faith, then the universe is going to give you little nuggets and gems of all these little things that will take you there. Faith is so important. Faith and confidence. Because there's a lot of things that we want to manifest that we're unsure if we can have, right? I mean, if you're the type of person that knows you can get that shit, good for you. That is awesome. But like, if you're the type of person that's kind of like unsure, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it, faith is the strongest freaking thing that you can have. You're unsure about something, so what's the best thing that you can do? Have faith. Everyone's brain works differently, but we all work with faith. Faith is so powerful. Faith doesn't just go to positive things. Faith can also go to bad things. Like whatever you put your faith into is also a manifestation technique. Whatever you put your faith into is what you believe in. So if you're putting your faith into something bad happening to you, like what if you believe that something bad is going to happen to you, you're putting your faith into something bad happening to you. And you're going to attract that. So if you're unsure about something, you got to use faith. Faith. Confidence. And just keep trucking forward. Because like I said, everyone works differently. Everyone's belief system is completely different. But faith and confidence will take you a hell of a lot farther than just outright believing like, I can't do it. Or just outright being unsure of yourself. You gotta have faith. It's like whenever I'm doing something, like if I'm on a sales call or something and I'm nervous and I'm talking to the guy, faith will take me through that phone call. And the fact that I believe in faith, that faith is going to work for me, it adds on to it. It adds on to the help. It adds on to me manifesting it. Because like I said, what you believe and what you know to be true is what is going to work for you. That's exactly what's going to happen. What you believe to be true is going to happen. It's going to work. If you believe that all of the advice that I'm giving you is going to work, then it's going to work. If you believe... But anyway, I think that's about everything that I've wanted to talk about. I hope this all has made sense. The difference between thinking, feeling, knowing, being unsure, and the law of attraction and the law of assumption. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Deuces.